Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog where I'm gonna be reading Christmas horror books. So I wanted to read some Christmas books because it's, Christmas time, and the only Christmas books that really sound appealing to me are the horror ones because I think it's like a really cool combination because, Christmas is supposed to be like this happy time and horror is supposed to be this scary time. So I think it's like a really cool combination. And I also did this same video last year and I did have a lot of fun, so I wanted to do it again this year. And I'm wearing my Christmas sweater, which honestly, just looking at it like this, it looks just like a Marvel sweater, but it has like Christmas lights and stuff. And also like it's massive on me. And I don't know why, because I don't remember it being this massive when I bought it in, I think it was November 1st. It was when I was like at Disney this year. Like I don't remember it being this big, but like it's pretty big on me, which I'm confused about. This is the first time I've put it on since I bought it and I am confused. But yeah, I thought I would use my Christmas sweater for this. But anyway, in this video I read 7 Christmas horror books and it is spoiler free, and let's just get into it. Okay, so I've read the first Christmas horror book, which was called Christmas and Other Horrors. And this was a collection of short stories. It had 18 short stories. And yes, they were mostly about Christmas, centered on Christmas, happening at least partly on Christmas. But the actual concept of the book was like about the winter solstice, which is, a few days before Christmas. But yeah, this had 18 short stories from different authors, and I think there were only 2 authors that I had read from before, at least that I remember. Like most of the short stories were like based on or like inspired on some like Christmas myths and legends, like darker legends, and some of them like from various countries, and I think like lesser known legends, at least I hadn't heard of them. And they were definitely very, like most of them were creepy, and some of them had a very like claustrophobic feeling to them, which I do really like in horror books. I love that uncomfortable feeling. And those were definitely my favorite, or some of my favorites. And I do have like 5 favorite short stories, although I feel like most of them were just okay. Like most of them I didn't like love. They were good, but they weren't, anything crazy. But there wasn't any that I like disliked. So, overall it was a good time. And so my favorites were the first one, which was The Importance of a Tidy Home, The Ghost of Christmases Past, Loyally Sona. I don't know how to say that because I think that is in Finnish, because it was like set in Finland with like Finnish people. So I'm assuming that's in Finnish, so I don't know how to say that. And The Lord of Misrule. So it's actually 4, not 5. I think I had said 5. It's actually 4. So yeah, those 4 were my favorites. And also another thing that I liked was that at the end of each short story, it had like a couple paragraphs of like the author explaining what really inspired that story and like why they wrote it, which I thought was really cool to see. And yeah, overall I enjoyed it. I definitely have some new authors to explore from like these favorite short stories that I found, so that is also exciting. and I think I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. And yeah, that is our first Christmas horror book done, and now I'm gonna go into the next one. I think the next one I'm gonna read is, I have like 5 or 6 on my Kobo, but I think the next one I'm gonna go with is I Found Christmas Lights Slithering Up My Street, because that is a weird title and I am intrigued. So I'm gonna read that. It's pretty short, like the next 3 or 4 books I'm gonna read are like pretty short. So I think I'm just gonna, read the whole thing and I will be back. Okay, so I have read the next book, which is I Found Christmas Lights Slithering Up My Street, which I still think is a great title. That is a very funny title. And we were following a 10, 11, either 10 or 11-year-old boy who was, like, it was obviously Christmas time. It was actually Christmas Eve. And he was out with 2 of his friends and they were trying to like decorate a house for Christmas because, things that happened in the previous Christmas, and his parents weren't, excited for it like they were usually, like every other year. They were not really excited for Christmas. They were not in the Christmas mood. They had not decorated their house. They weren't doing anything. And so the main character, I think his name was Douglas, he was, he wanted to bring the Christmas cheer back to his family and just show his parents and try to make them happy. But he finds some like weird Christmas lights in the sewers and he actually like pulls them out. And after he pulls them out, weird things start happening, like weird creepy people appear like singing Christmas carols, and they start like following them and also like following other people and hurting those people, and like if they touch you, weird things happen to you. And so they're trying to outrun that. And I can't really say anything other than that because it was really short. It was like 100 pages and it was fun. I mean, fun is definitely not the right word for this because it was pretty sad. Like this was, I hadn't read the synopsis, so there's also that. So maybe this was all in the synopsis and I don't know. I still didn't read it. But it was so sad. Like it was way more sad than I expected. I expected just like a silly, goofy time with Christmas lights killing people. But that's not, I mean, kind of was what it was, but also it wasn't. It was really sad. It was kind of deeper than I expected. But yeah, it was, a time. I didn't like absolutely love it, but I definitely enjoyed it. I had a decent time. It had some creepy scenes. And yeah, it was, I guess I'm gonna say fun anyway. It was fun. It was okay. It was a time. And I gave it 3 stars. And now we're gonna go into our next book, which is Candy Cane Kills. Actually, I have started, but I only read 1 chapter, but it was definitely like a very interesting opening chapter. So I'm gonna read that. I'm intrigued. Like from what I've read, the 1 chapter that I've read is all like a haunted house, I guess. So I'm excited. I also didn't read the synopsis. I didn't read the synopsis of any of these books. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna read that and I will get back to you when I have finished it. Okay, so I've read Candy Cane Kills and it was definitely fun, and it was definitely a slasher, which wasn't exactly what I thought it was gonna be. I mean, I had no reason to think anything of it because I knew nothing about it. I hadn't read the synopsis. I didn't know anything. I just knew that it was a Christmas book and a horror book, which is why I chose it for this video. But other than that, I didn't know anything. But like from reading the first chapter or prologue, I think it didn't have a prologue. I think it was the first chapter. It sounded like it was like a haunted house story, but it was, I mean, it still kind of was like a haunted house story, kind of, but it was definitely a slasher, and it was definitely very fun. And we were following a family of 4 people, a mom, a dad, and 2 kids, a boy, I think the boy was older, and then a younger girl, and they were going to spend Christmas on a house, like on that they had rented, or like that the dad had rented. And they were like, there was a lot of stress happening in that family. They, like, their relationships were not great, like among everyone. Like every member of that family had issues with everyone else in that family. So they were trying to, I guess, use the Christmas spirit to better their family dynamic, I guess. And they were going there, and after, like, they get to the house and then they go out on the town and they hear about the candy cane killings, and that it supposedly happened on that house that they're renting. And basically, like, there was a family that died there, and like the house burned, and they say that that was the candy cane killings. And so, you know, they thought that the house would be haunted. And then candy cane itself appears and it starts killing them, and it was so fun in a gruesome, horrible way. And actually there were like kind of 2 killers, kind of 2 villains, and like one of them absolutely loved, made sense, and like the candy cane killer, like, love that. The other one, I didn't really get their motivations, like they explained, but I was like, sure, yeah, totally. So yeah, that one didn't really make much sense to me, but the actual candy cane killer, absolutely loved it. It was very fun, and I did like the people who made it out. I liked who it was, and I also really liked the very ending. Also really enjoyed that. And yeah, overall it was a very fun time, and I gave it 4 stars. And now I am going to start on the next book, which is, I was gonna say the longest, but like the longest is this short story collection, but it's just a bunch of short stories. So like the actual longest story is this one that I'm gonna start now, which is Krampus the Yule Lord. So yeah, actually I don't know anything about Krampus, not a single thing. So like Krampus as in the creature, not the book. So yeah, I am intrigued, I am excited. The cover looks scary and amazing. So yeah, I'm excited for that. And since this one is longer, I will probably update halfway through it. Okay, so I am 50, or more specifically 49% into Krampus, and well, I am not loving this book. I am kind of bored, and I think it's because I'm not really connecting to the characters or the plot, really. I guess I'm not really connected to anything. But basically, we are following Krampus, and we are also following Jessie, who is just, you know, a human. And actually, like, I really liked the prologue of this book, like the end of the prologue specifically, because Krampus was like ranting about Santa Claus and the fact that he was gonna get him and he was gonna kill him. And the last line of the prologue is, I, Krampus, Lord of Yule, son of hell, bloodline of the great Loki, swear to cut your lying tongue from your mouth, your thieving hands from your wrists, and your jolly head from your neck. Which sounds very exciting, sounds very fun. And so basically we start by following Jessie. I mean, we get that, you know, prologue with Krampus, but then we start by following Jesse, and he is struggling. He, like, his wife has left him and taken his daughter, their daughter, and he like wants them back. And he also is like, he's struggling financially, and he's also involved with some shady people. And he finds Santa's sack, like where Santa gets the presents from, and he realizes that it's, you know, magical. He can just get his hand in there and like get what he wants, what he wishes, which at first is like the gift that his daughter wants. So he's able to get that. And then Krampus, he's also looking for Santa's sack because it used to actually like belong to Krampus's family, and he is after the sack. So he finds Jesse, and they like, Jesse's kind of forced to work with Krampus. And we also like, we have learned about the backstory of Krampus and Santa Claus, and like how they know each other and how they are like connected, and why Krampus like hated Santa Claus. And like, it's fine. I'm not hating it, but I'm not really loving it either. Like, I am kind of bored, and I am, like I said, not really connecting to the characters or the story. It has definitely like some funny lines. It has had some kind of like violent, gruesome scenes. And yeah, it's fine, I guess. But the very last chapter that I read, like the end of the very last chapter that I read, actually might make things more exciting, like what happened at the end of that chapter. So maybe I will like the second half more. Maybe, like, at least I am more excited for it, because it can definitely go in a wild direction. So yeah, I'm just feeling okay about it. Maybe like 2.5 stars, 3 stars, somewhere along those lines. So yeah, I was actually hoping I would love this book, because I don't know, the cover just seems kind of creepy and scary and fun. And yeah, sadly, I'm not really feeling any of those feelings when I'm reading the book. So there's that. But I am still hoping that I do enjoy the second half more than I enjoy the first. So yeah, I'm gonna finish reading that, and I will be back here with my thoughts. Okay, so I finished Krampus, and I did like the second half more, because we got like some more action scenes that were fun. We found out a little more about Krampus and Santa Claus's past, and I was like a bit more invested, but it was still just okay. And I just never really, I think I said this in my other update, I never really connected to the characters, and in the second half I still didn't. And so I guess I just didn't care that much about what was happening. And yeah, that was sad, because I wanted to love this. And it also, like, it had some illustrations in the book that were so cool. And honestly, like, this is the second, at least second that I can remember, book with like really good illustrations that like I would love to love, because I love the way that it looks, but that I just don't really like that much, or at least like I don't love. I didn't hate either of these books. The other was Empire of the Vampire, I think that's what it's called. That one I do like have physically, and like it's really pretty, but it was just an okay book. And this one was also just okay. And yeah, I did like the second half a little more than the first half, but it's still just okay. I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars, because like, didn't love it, didn't dislike it, it's okay. And I think it's a little more than just like, you know, halfway, which would be 2.5. So I guess, yeah, I'm gonna give it 3 stars. And next I'm going to read a very short book, which I think is only like 70 pages or something, which is called The Visitor. So yeah, I'm gonna read that very short book, and I will be back. Okay, so I read The Visitor and it was indeed very short, so I can't really say too much about it, but honestly, I don't have too much to say about it, I don't think. Basically, at first we were following a character who was like driving in his car and there is like a big snowstorm and then he like hits, I think, a piece of metal or something on like the street and his car crashes. And then someone else who was on that street tells him to like join him in his car and he will take them both to a diner that is like ahead, pretty close. And he agrees and they both go there, and this is Christmas Eve. And they like when they get there, there's a couple more people there at the diner, and then some creature appears and it starts like attacking them, and then they start trying to run away from it and they're being chased by that creature, and like that's pretty much it. It's them trying to survive and that creature, the visitor, trying to get them and to kill them. And it was okay, like it was fine. It was not nearly as entertaining as the other slasher I read for this video. That one was way more fun, if that can be a word used for this. And yeah, this was okay. I was not really that invested, and honestly, like I couldn't tell you the name of any of the characters. And I read this book today. So yeah, that's how much I cared about all of them, I guess. So yeah, I know the name of the dog. I don't know the name of any of the humans, but I do know the name of the dog. And I guess that's the only character that I cared about. So, yeah, it was fine. Like, I didn't, really dislike it, but I also didn't really like it that much. It was just fine, and I gave it 2.5 stars. So things are kind of going like in a downward direction rating wise, and that is not what I'm here for. So I'm gonna go into my next book. It was gonna be my last book, but then I found, like, honestly, it's a short story. I think it's like 15 pages or something that I also want to read. I think it's called The Ritual, but I'm gonna leave that for last. And now I'm gonna read another book, which I think is around 300 pages, and it's called Snow. Do I know what it's about? No, not a single clue. I just know that it's set on Christmas and it's horror, so that is all that matters for this video. So yeah, I'm gonna read that and I will probably update halfway through because it is a longer one. It's a normal length book, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna read around half of that and I will tell you how that's going. Alright, so I am halfway through Snow, actually 53% through Snow, and I'm actually really liking it. And basically, this one, just like the previous book, I think there is like a snowstorm and people are stuck, but in this case, it's not like in a car. In this case, it's people at an airport, like flights are being canceled, and we're following our main character called Todd, and he was flying to see his son for Christmas, but his flight was canceled. So he's trying to like get a car to drive there, even though he's obviously not gonna be there in time for like Christmas Eve. He hopes to be there in time for like Christmas Day. and a woman that he meets that was, I think, going on the same flight as him. At least he meets her at the airport. She like joins him in like going on the same car, because yeah, it probably was in the same flight because they're going in the same like direction. And she's called Kate. And then they also meet an older couple who also joins them on their road trip, I guess. And their car actually has some issues, so they have to stop. And then they find a man who is supposedly looking for his daughter, and he like takes them to wherever his daughter is supposed to be. But there's definitely something wrong with the child, and there's definitely something wrong with a man. And then they find like a town in which people are like that man and the kid. There are not really themselves anymore. There is something that apparently came like in the snow that is like affecting people and turning them into monsters, sort of very violent, and they're like killing each other, and the survivors are like hiding in different houses and in different buildings. And now these four characters that were just trying to get home are dealing with that as well, and trying to also survive. And I am really enjoying it. And I mean, I already knew that I like kind of like apocalypse survival stories, but you know, the more I read them slash watch them, the more I realize that I really, really love them. And this book is no exception. I am really, really enjoying it. I'm having a good time. It is definitely creepy, like the way that those people who are affected by that thing act. Definitely very creepy. Also very gory. And yeah, I'm having a good time. I'm enjoying it. So I hope I enjoy the second half as much as I've enjoyed the first half. And yeah, that's it. So far, so good. I'm enjoying it, and I will talk to you again once I finish it. Okay, so I finished Snow, and I really liked it. Honestly, like my thoughts are pretty much the same as they were in the first half of the book, which is it was definitely a very fun, like survival story, kind of apocalypse kind of story. And yeah, we continue to see the characters trying to survive. Some of the ones that we were like following from the beginning, and others that we like met in that town that they were at, and like the different kinds of groups that have been formed in the town after the whatever was happening started happening. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I also really, really loved the ending. Like, it was the perfect ending for me personally for this story. Like, absolutely loved it. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was not like my favorite survival apocalypse story that I've ever read, but it was still very fun nonetheless. And I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. And now, I mean, probably tomorrow, not now, I'm gonna be reading the last book for this video, which is, I mean, it's a short story. Because I think it's like 17 pages, so it's like extremely short. So yeah, I will read that story, and I will be back to tell you about it and to also wrap up this video. Okay, so I read The Ritual, which was indeed extremely short. So like, I can't really say much about it, but we're basically like following people in a town where they had to, like, if they had to do a ritual, it would be because like they woke up and there would be like a gigantic bell on like the middle of the town, and no one really knew like how the bell got there, but they knew that if the bell was there, that meant they had to do like a ritual, a like sacrificial ritual. And guess what? This year that we were following them, there was the bell there, so they had to do the ritual, and we saw what the ritual was. and it was very like gory, and the ending was also really good. It made things even like creepier, I guess, even scarier. And like it was extremely short, like really, really, really so short. But I did really, really like it. I thought it was like effectively very creepy and gory and exactly what I want from a horror story. So I really liked it. I thought it was great and I gave it 4 stars. And yeah, those are all of the Christmas horror books that I am going to be reading for this video. It is actually December 22nd, which is when I'm also going to be uploading this video. So I need to still edit it and do the things. And yeah, those are the books. And actually, I think when I was reviewing the first book, like the short story collection, I said that I thought I had like 5 favorite short stories, but then I only had like 4 written down. But then I realized that there were in fact 5. I just hadn't written down the last one because the last one was the actual last one of the book. And I just forgot to write that down. But yeah, the last one, which was called Afterwards, was also one of my favorites in the collection. So I just wanted to say that. And so for the final ratings for this video, so that short story collection, Christmas and Other Horrors, I gave 3.5 stars. Then I Found Christmas Lights Slithering Up My Street, I gave 3 stars. Candy Cane Kills, I gave 4 stars. Krampus, I gave 3 stars. The Visitor, I gave 2.5 stars. And Snow, I gave 4 stars, and The Ritual I also gave 4 stars. So overall, I do think I enjoy this mix of Christmas and horror, just like I did last year. I think it's a very interesting mix. And yeah, I definitely had a lot of fun filming this video, and it did help me get into the Christmas spirit, even if it was in a horrifying, scary kind of way. But it did help me get in the spirit. And I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, I just hope you have some great days in general. And yeah, that is everything for this video. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you have enjoyed it. And if you did, give it a like and subscribe. And I will talk to you next time. Bye!